Yo, what's up, guys? We're back. We're doing another breakdown. This week it's UFC Vegas 10, UFC Fight Night, Waterson versus Hill. It's a okay card. Some decent matchups, not really a lot of notable names, but we're going to break down the whole card like usual. And with the first fight of the night, we have Sabina Mazo taking on Justine Kish. This is, an interesting fight. Kish is kind of the old guard. Mazo, they're trying to get a win over someone that's a notable name, but not necessarily been very active or very successful in recent years. But Mazo, she's a pretty big favorite here, minus 270, minus 300 some places. And she's bounced back from her debut loss. She went in there, she got a win over J.J. Aldridge in the last fight, where I think that's a good win because Aldridge is someone that I actually respect as a fighter. And Mazo is obviously going to be significantly younger here, 9 years younger. She's, a tall, rangy fighter, real nice kicks, knees up the middle, throws a lot of jabs, and then she'll come back with the two. She'll, pull counter pretty well. She's very good when she can come forward, stay in girls' face, keep the volume high, cut the cage off. And she threw a lot of volume in the fight with Aldridge. A lot of it missed, but she landed a lot also. Really landed to the body, wore on JJ. And she likes being in the pocket trading. She doesn't have any problem slipping and ripping, pull countering, good step-in knees to the body. She has a variety of kicks she throws. She throws a lot of body kicks. She has a nasty head kick. She can throw high kicks with both legs, and she does have 2 high kick knockouts. She does have that flat-footed Muay Thai style, doesn't really move her head. She is super tough, though. I mean, J.J. Aldridge was able to land some big shots, snap Mazo's head back, and Mazo stayed right in the pocket, kept walking her down. But Aldridge was able to land a lot of straight punches on Mazo as she came forward, kicked, kneed her, she would also, kick her knee with her chin high, and she was able to capitalize on that, Aldridge. In her fight with Marina Moroz, Mazo struggled going backwards. She would kind of throw these lazy jabs with no power, and allowed Moroz to get in the clinch or back her to the cage. And I think that's why she's been so aggressive in her last 2 fights, which is something you'd like to see because it's someone that's correcting the mistakes that they've had in the past, and she hasn't been pushed back. She's been going forward. So that's what you expect from her in this fight, or you would hope from her. And she's still only 23, so she's obviously going to be steadily improving. She's not an active grappler. She did show off some nice knees in the tie clinch in her last fight, though. I mean, she was really able to hurt J.J. Aldridge in the clinch with knees to the body. In her fight with Marina Moroz, she did struggle to defend the takedowns in the clinch. Moroz was able to take her down, control her on top, and Mazo did show good defense on the ground. I mean, she was able to re-guard, trap arms, and minimize the damage, but didn't really attack off her back or look to get back to her feet. And she needs to continue to work on her takedown defense, on her get-ups. Her cardio is impressive. She gets better as the fight goes on. She has a killer pace. You could tell that she has a fighter's instinct. She doesn't back down, so she's a good prospect for sure. And Justine Kish, she's looking to make it 2-0 in 2020. She had a long layoff after her loss in 2018, but came back at the win over Lucy Pudilova in January. She's 2-2 in the UFC, but she has faced much tougher competition than Mazo has. When you look at Kish's record, I mean, she has some decent wins. Randa Marcos, Nina Ansaroff, Ashley Yoder, Lucy Pudilova. Those are all girls that were ranked in the top 15 at one point in the UFC. And she's training out of a gym that's on a roll right now in Gym-O as well. So she has to have some confidence entering this spot. The gym's probably, doing well for her. But in her return fight with Lucy Pudilova, she returned a lot of injuries. I thought she looked awful. I mean, she struggled to find her range. She was doing a lot of weird, nonsensical movement from the outside. She had her hands completely down. She was trying to dart in with these ugly telegraphed punches, and she barely landed any head strikes at all in that fight. I think she landed less than 10 head strikes, significant head strikes, excuse me. She doesn't really have much finesse to her game. I mean, she doesn't throw fakes, feints. She really relies on her chin to eat shots and walk opponents down. And she's very physical. She throws a lot of jabs, 1-2s, real nice heavy low kick, good left hook, and she's willing to get in the pocket and trade. She throws a lot of volume at times, but in other fights, like in her last fight, very minimal volume, which I don't know if she's going to look better from that fight because she did come back off a long layoff, but I thought she looked horrible in that fight. I mean, she's known more for her forward pressure, her willingness to take damage, to give damage, and in that fight, spending a lot of time on the outside, not doing much, trying to, I don't know, I mean, she just looked like she couldn't figure out how to close that distance, but She is very physical. I mean, she's a former Muay Thai world champion for a reason. She'll get that Thai plum, land big knees, uppercuts, dirty box, good trip takedowns, good single leg, good double against the cage. And in top position, she does have some good ground and pound. She'll look for some arm triangles and Kimuras, but we've seen her dominated on the mat as well against Felice Herrig. She almost got submitted multiple times, but man, she is really tough. She's never been finished in her career. She does have 2 submissions herself, and I feel like, Kish is going to be looking to get it to the ground, but her footwork and the way she was entering range in her last fight could get her hurt against, a high-volume body hunter like Mazo. Mazo, is going to be able to probably come forward in this fight, in my opinion, just from what I saw from Kish last time. And I feel like she's going to be able to keep the range with the kicks. She's going to throw more volume. She's going to land these pull counters in the straights when Kish tries to close that distance. And Kish in the clinch is usually where she does her best work, but Mazo's very good in the clinch as well. She has a pretty significant reach advantage and height advantage, so that's going to help her in those clinch exchanges. And unless she's just very physical in this fight, grimy, gets it to the ground and just kind of beats Mazo that way, I just don't see her getting the win. She didn't attempt many takedowns in her fight with Lucy Pudilova, so I just see Mazo pulling away on the numbers on this one, landing a lot, putting some good damage on Kish, and getting a decision victory here. Up next, we got another fight here with another GMO member, Brian Barberena. He's coming in here, making his return, and he hasn't fought in a little over a year. He is a tough fighter. I mean, he earned a name for himself inside the UFC, but he has been finished in his last 2 fights. He also gained a lot of weight during quarantine. He also had I think it was a back surgery that was a career-threatening surgery, so he was thinking about retirement. He ballooned up to like 250 pounds, so a lot of red flags there with Barbarina. It's hard to truly trust him as a huge favorite here. But Anthony Ivy, he's making a quick turnaround just 3 months after getting knocked out in less than a minute. That was not a good performance, but prior to that, Ivy had won 5 in a row. He is getting a big opportunity here to catch a notable name on the way down. I mean, Barbarina would be a big scout for Ivy. And Ivy also, he was expected to fight the previous week. I believe it at 185 pounds against Gerald Meerschaert. And then when that fight fell through, he said that they told him, can you fight at 170 the following week? And he was around 205 pounds. So he had to lose a lot of weight, and that kind of attributed to his performance, but didn't really show anything there. So maybe this is kind of his UFC debut a little bit. But to me, this fight is pretty self-explanatory. Ivy is going to want to be all the way in or all the way out. He's going to have to use that height, the reach, the athleticism advantage that he has. He needs to use his straight punches, his blitzes, body head kicks, get inside, get in that clinch. And in the clinch, Ivy is dangerous with elbows, but on the feet, he just doesn't like getting hit, man. Like you saw in his last fight, tends to shell up after getting hit. He doesn't move his legs, and he'll even shell up after throwing a combo or when a fighter feints, just anticipating shots, which is a very bad sign. And he's a strong grappler, though. He can go all day. Good double leg shot. Even though he could shoot from way too far out at times, he has good takedowns, good control against the cage. And on top, he has strong ground and pound. He'll work to the back. He's a finisher. He's never been to a decision in his career, win or lose. He has 4 submissions, 4 knockouts. He's been submitted twice, and he also got knocked out in his last fight. And Brian Barberena, he's an underrated workman. He has good footwork, good forward pressure, heavy hands. He breaks fighters down, those heavy low kicks. He has a lot of combinations behind the jab, a lot of body work. And inside, he's durable, has big power. He can put fighters down with the hooks, with the uppercuts. He has 9 knockouts. And he's fought the who's who, and he's done well. He was able to drop and almost finish Leon Edwards. He rocked Vicente Luque, was, I believe, like 30 seconds away from a decision victory against Luque. And he has been finishing his last 2 fights. He's taken a lot of damage throughout his career. He seems to be more susceptible to body shots than headshots. And I'm not sure Ivy's experienced or skilled enough to attack the body heavily here. Barberena is a decent grappler himself. He isn't going to go for the takedowns, but in the clinch, he has a good plum, good knees. Whenever you are trying to take him down, he makes you work. He'll pop right back up. He's constantly annoying you with rabid punches. His takedown defense is pretty average, but he hasn't been taken down in nearly 3 years. And his takedown stats look pretty bad if you just look at him on paper, but it's partially because he was taken down 12 times by Colby Covington. And he was able to pop back up against Colby. Leon Edwards was really the only fighter who's been able to take him down, control him on top. He usually can work his way back to his feet, and he's been taken down 3 times or more in 3 UFC fights, though. So that is a little bit concerning in a matchup with Ivy. And Ivy's a bit more hard to call. I mean, when you look at it in totality, it's hard to pick Anthony Ivy, even though he has kind of a style to beat Bam Bam. He's more athletic. Bam Bam's coming in off an injury. Who knows how his confidence is. He's coming in off 2 finished losses. Ivy, he would need to take him down, control him, avoid getting clipped for 3 rounds. I don't see him finishing Bam Bam on the ground. You know how he's done these other guys. It isn't like he has a crushing top game. He just kind of wears on these guys, tires them out. They kind of give their backs. He'll choke them out or he'll pound them out in a position. But Barbarina isn't going to quit like that. I think even if he does get taken down, Barbarina can get back to his feet. And if you just look at his resume, man, he's fought the who's who. He's defeated and even, pushed to the brink some guys, a lot more established guys than Ivy. I think Ivy's going to have trouble setting up the takedowns because Barb's going to be pressuring, cutting the cage off, looking to counter. I don't think Ivy trusts his hands or his chin enough to set up his takedowns with strikes. If he does, it'd just be a spastic combination and close the distance. Maybe Ivy gets him down, but I see Barb getting back up to his feet, finding his rhythm, eventually touching Ivy with a shot he doesn't like and taking him out. Barbarina puts combos together, so if he shells up like that, I see Barbarina, going under, over, around his guard and catching him. And, I see him getting a late 2nd or 3rd round TKO. But with all the variables with Barbarina, it is kind of hard to recommend laying money on him at that price. So that's just my opinion on that fight. In this next fight, this should be a good one here. Frank Camacho, Brock Weaver. 2 similar guys. I mean, we got on the feet 2 guys that are kind of not super skilled, but they like to brawl. They'll go out there, they'll go to war, show their toughness, and they both love to fight. I mean, you see Frank Camacho in there screaming when he gets hit, throwing back, coming forward like a wild man with his hands down. You see Brock Weaver talking to his opponent, getting better as the fight goes on, and Weaver's one of these guys, I guess Camacho, but a little bit less for Camacho because I do think Camacho is more skilled than Weaver in that sense. Weaver's one of these guys that it's like he can push, man. He can maybe not be the most skilled guy in there, but it's just something about him, his upbringing, whatever it is that just makes him real hard, and he can just survive these bad situations. He can weather a storm, and then when you're tired, man, he's still there. He's wearing on you. He's beating you up, and maybe he's not as good as you, but he's just tougher than you, man, and he wills his way to victory in certain spots. But Frank Camacho, he's a guy that also does the same thing, and Frank, has shown that he's good on the ground. I think he's purple belt world champion in jiu-jitsu, no gi. He has some decent trips in the clinch. We saw him take down Drew Dober multiple times, and I feel like his striking is a little bit higher level than Weaver's as well. I think he definitely hits a lot harder than Brock Weaver. Weaver, doesn't look like he has too much power. He's more of a punches and bunches, death by 1,000 cuts accumulation type guy, whereas Camacho, I have seen him gas out in the past though. So Weaver training at American Top Team now. If he comes in tip-top shape and he can weather an early storm and Camacho gasses out super hard like he did against Dober, maybe Weaver can put it on him, put a big flurry on him, get the ref to stop it, TKO, something like that. But I feel like Camacho, his last loss against Justin James, he's proven himself to be a big hitter. He almost took out Gavin Tucker in the first round. He hurt him. He is very explosive, and he could finish fights in that first round, whereas Brock Weaver hasn't really shown that ability, and Camacho has shown that ability himself, where he could finish the fight in the first round. So I feel like if someone's going to get a knockout, it might be Frank Camacho, not Brock Weaver here in this fight, but I kind of see this going to a decision probably, and I just see Frank Camacho maybe dropping around but winning 2 out of 3 and being a sloppy fight. I could maybe see Camacho winning all 3 rounds, but I'm going to pick Frank Camacho here. I just think he's a little bit better everywhere. The cardio edge, if Weaver comes in tip-top shape, could be a factor. But Camacho has to know he has to get a win here, man. He's lost 4 out of 5 fights. He's missed weight for his last fight. So both these guys, coming off weight misses, they probably are going to come in better shape. So I'm going to go with Camacho here. I just think he's going to be able to get the win. I think he's a little bit better than Brock Weaver, but man, I wouldn't be surprised if Weaver got the win. As such a huge underdog. I'm not going to bet on him, but I think that he's not the worst bet in the world. In this next one, we got a good one. We got Alan Patrick returning. We haven't seen him since his loss to Scott Holtzman in 2018. So he hasn't fought since that Conor McGregor versus Khabib card. And he's had 4 fights scheduled for 2020. All got canceled for one reason or another. But I'm not sure why he took all of 2019 off. And at 37 years old, we're going to have to see how Patrick comes back looking. But his style relies a lot on athletic ability, man. He's super athletic, fast twitch muscle type of fighter, long reach. He closes his distance quickly. He likes to enter range with straight line blitzes. He'll enter with straight punches, looping hooks. Very good job of feigning level changes, shooting that straight left 1-2 to the head or to the body. And he throws a lot of front kicks to the body. He'll throw some spin kicks. He runs a lot, though. He has good movement, and his blitzes are very fast. He kind of tries to lull you to sleep, blitzing, get a takedown, land some straights. Tricky to fight, but once you get a beat on him, he's very beatable. He needs the threat of the takedown for his striking to be effective. If you could take that away with forward pressure, he really struggles. He's low volume. He doesn't set his strikes up, overextends on his punches, holds his hands completely down. Holtzman was able to pull counter him and ultimately dropped him in the 3rd round. Patrick is just not a great striker, and Green will butcher him in the stand-up match. In both of Patrick's losses, he was knocked out, and Patrick has 4 knockout wins himself. Most of those have been with ground and pound, but he has one objective in the cage, get the fight to the mat. He has fast level changes. He's constantly looking to shoot on you. He'll shoot singles, doubles. He's good at it if he can't finish pushing you the cage, working from there. He has good trips, good body locks. On top, he's a blanket. He isn't super dangerous. He just stays inside his opponent's full guard, controls, chips away with elbows, punches. Patrick just tends to take what his opponents give him. If they want to keep their guard closed, he'll just stay in the guard. When they look for submissions or to stand up, he's good at taking the back. I have seen Alan Patrick put in some pretty deep arm bars in fights. I've seen him go for sacrifice throws in the clinch before, give up top position. Stevie Ray was able to mount him, take his back. In his fight with Scott Holtzman, he seemed reluctant to want to shoot takedowns, and I think that's because he didn't want to end up on bottom, and for good reason, because we saw the couple times he did attempt takedowns, they got stuffed. Holtzman smashed him from top position, and Holtzman was able to take Patrick down against the cage himself, and the sequence of elbows that finished the fight were pretty brutal. Patrick attacked with some leg locks, but Holtzman dominated on top. Patrick is a tough guy, though. He weaponizes cardio. He finds time to rest on the feet, but when he blitzes, he's explosive. He can grapple all day. And as long as he has time to rest on top, he can go 3 rounds hard. His top control is usually good. He's not a great fighter, but he's tricky. He's tough to beat. He isn't a finisher even on the ground. He only has 2 career rear naked chokes, but he's 9-0 in decisions, man. So that's something that you always have to take into account. And Bobby Green, he's had a career renaissance of sorts. This is going to be his 3rd fight in 3 months. He's going to be looking to make it 3-0. And he's arguably undefeated since 2018. If you look at his 2 losses, Francisco Trinaldo, Jakar Close, those are both controversial decisions. Green has always been a name that hovered around or in that bottom of the, half of that top 15. He fell off a bit after that loss to Barbosa, but it looks like he's finally, regaining his footing again and finding some confidence in his last fight with Lando Venata. He dropped Venata, hurt him really badly a couple times, almost finished him, looked really good on the feet, was able to take him down. And in a fight like this, I like the matchup for Bobby Green, man, because like I said, Bobby's, we all kind of know how he fights, shoulder roll, hands down, walk forward, pull counter, a lot of finesse, and it can look a little bit bad on the judges at times because, if you don't really know what you're looking at and a guy's pull countering, slipping and ripping, being a little bit low volume, it can kind of be like that George Masvidal thing in the past where they lose these close decisions that they probably deserve to win. But in this matchup, he's going to have a significant advantage on the feet. A huge advantage. And if he could shut down the takedown and just pressure Patrick, he's going to probably finish him in. And one thing we know about Bobby Green is his grappling is very good offensively and defensively. If he could take down Patrick, put him on his back, he's shown some good ground and pound. We saw what Scott Holtzman did to Patrick. And Patrick, I mean, maybe he could take down Bobby Green a couple times like Clay Guida did, but he's extremely hard to hold down. He'll hit switches. He'll work his way into top position. He's very good in the scrambles. And I don't see him holding down Bobby Green for 3 rounds. Bobby Green's cardio has held up really well recently. I mean, against Guida, it held up really well. Against Lando Venata, it held up really well. And he's a favorite here for a reason. I think that obviously Patrick is the older guy. He's coming off a long layoff. Bobby Green's been very active, and Bobby knows what he has to do here. He has to defend the takedown, and you'll probably get the victory. I mean, there's always that chance. I mean, Patrick's an athletic guy. He could land a spinning heel kick to the head. He could land a high kick and knock him out, but the likelihood of that happening is very low. So I feel like if Bobby could keep it on the feet, which he's very good at doing. I mean, I can't remember a fight in the UFC where he's been taken down, controlled, and lost that way. So unless that happens, he's going to win the fight. So for me, it's Bobby Green all day. I think he's going to get the win, and I think he could even get the finish here. Up next, we have kind of a grudge match here with Roosevelt Roberts, Matt Frevola. And Matt Frevola has done well this far in his UFC career. I mean, he's won back-to-back fights as an underdog. Definitely has made a name for himself. He's an action fighter. He's aggressive on the feet. I mean, comes forward, high guard, a lot of head movement. He'll throw heavy low kicks, round kicks to the body. Good straight right hand down the middle to the body and the head. And he really just likes to blitz forward behind wild hooks, overhead, some spinning attacks, Superman punches, and get in the clinch, get some takedowns. But he has decent athleticism. He can be low volume, though, after the first round. I mean, you'll circle a lot, just try to wait for openings. In his last 3 fights, though, although he's been unbeaten, he's taken a lot of damage. I mean, he doesn't have great defense, eats a lot of heavy shots, but he's still durable, very tough, and is willing to take it. He doesn't really have a lot of power himself. He only has 1 TKO, but he's a grinder, man. He's a strong wrestler. He gets inside, gets the takedown, good doubles, but his singles are his go-to. He really likes to time singles, then turn them into body locks, and he's good at chain wrestling. Once he's on top, he's more about control than finishing the fight, but he's an aggressive passer. He likes to settle inside control, land short shots, take your back, and he has good back control. He'll float between the mount and the back. He isn't a submission threat, but you know, he will kind of work on the rear naked choke. He's a pretty good guillotine, arm triangle, 3 submission victories, and good submission defense, and he could scramble off bottom well. His cardio is very good. He just wants it more than a lot of his opponents. He's yet to lose a decision in his career. And Roosevelt Roberts, man, he's finally getting his wish. I mean, Roberts has been calling out Matt Frevola for over a year now. Every chance he gets, he's saying his name, and Roberts is a solid prospect also, even though he faltered in his last fight against Jim Miller. He obviously, you know, is going to want to work behind that jab, the 1-2, keep the range, stick and move, use that front knee up the middle to counter, switch stances, and, you know, outbox this guy. With this frame, he should throw a lot more kicks, but I still haven't seen a lot of kicks from him. But in this fight, you know, use the knees, the straight punches, slip and rip. Just try to put it on Frevola as he enters range. And, you know, maybe try to walk him down, push him against the cage. Not push him against the cage, but push him to the cage where his back's near the fence and just kind of work him from there. Try to force bad takedowns and, you know, catch that guillotine, because that's obviously what he's very good at. And I'm sure Roberts is a little bit down on himself for how that last performance went, where he got taken down and submitted very quickly against Jim Miller. But we've seen now twice in fights where Vince Pichel was able to take him down and control him, kind of dominated him. Jim Miller submitted him. Even in this fight with Alexander Yakovlev, he was taken down and controlled in that fight. So if Frevola can get in on the body lock, I think he's going to go ahead and take him down. And especially if he can use a single, I think he'll be able to finish that. So as long as he doesn't get caught in a guillotine, I kind of just think that his cardio, his will to win, his perseverance is going to come through here with heavy grinding, grappling, wrestling style, where maybe he takes the second and the third round here just by controlling, getting on top, and winning a decision. So I'm going to go with the steamroller, Matt Frevola. He looks in great shape. I think he's going to be able to outwork this guy and get a victory. Up next here, we got a women's fight, Julia Avila, Sijara, Eubanks. I'm going to be kind of quick on this one because I feel like it's a very easy fight to call, in my opinion. I mean, we have Avila who's streaking. We got Sijara, kind of an inconsistent girl, but has a lot of skills for sure. And early on in the first round, Sijara is a motherfucker, man. I mean, she could take you down. She could outbox you. She has good power. She's really, really strong in the clinch with the body locks. And when she gets on top, she has good control, good ground and pound, advances positions well. And she isn't really a big submission threat in her MMA career, but she has that black belt that she can always go to. And, yeah, she's real tough to deal with. But the problem with her has always been her cardio. And in a fight like this with Julia Avila, who's another one of these girls that's one of the strongest girls in the division, that's a very good grappler. I mean, she's shown a really heavy sprawl. She's been able to, defend takedowns pretty easily in the clinch. I feel like she's going to actually be the stronger girl than Sijara for one of the first times in Sijara's career. And at range on the feet, I mean, it's competitive, I feel like, early on, but I think that Avila's going to try to maul her as the fight goes on when she sees she's more tired, get her against the fence, work her in that clinch where she's really dangerous with the elbows, with the knees. And if Avila can get on top of a tired Eubanks, man, she's a boulder. We saw that against Pani Kianzad. She's very heavy in the mount. She just pounds these girls, really works on them. And she has big power in her hands as well. I feel like the striking is kind of close, which makes the fight maybe a little bit closer than the line indicates, but when you put everything into account together, Eubanks isn't really going to be able to get her grappling going in this one, in my opinion. I think in the clinch, Avila is going to be the winner there. I think the cardio, Avila is going to be the winner as well. One thing I will say that makes me a little bit worried is Julia Avila has said that the weight cuts do give her a lot of issues, and she has been fighting pretty frequently. She just fought recently, so I hope that she's not run down a little bit and maybe has a bad performance or gasses out. But besides that, I mean, I just feel like she has better skills across the board. Maybe she doesn't have better jiu-jitsu, but I think she has a better top game for MMA. I think she's tougher. I think that she's better mentally as well. So I just feel like as the fight goes on, you're going to see Avila pull away and maybe even potentially get a finish here. So for me, the pick is Julia Avila, and I'm pretty confident that she gets the win here. And up next here, we got Matt Schnell taking on Tyson Nam. And Tyson Nam, he did get his first win in the UFC his last time out. Got a quick knockout, but that was against an inexperienced 3-1 opponent. He did handle him accordingly. He finished him very quickly. And Matt Schnell, he's looking to get back on the horse. He had another first-round knockout loss, but still has won 4 out of 5 fights. And this is a weird fight, man, because we have one guy in Matt Schnell that I really like skills-wise. He's very gifted on the feet, very good movement, distance control, real nice straight punches down the middle, really fast hands, real tight with the short hooks inside. Really good offensive fighter, right? His takedowns are there. He has a really nice guard, super good slick submissions off of his back. He can, fight going backwards. He can pull counter. He's athletic. He has a lot of really good attributes, and when you look at Tyson Nam, I mean, Nam's a little bit older. I would say maybe he's a little bit slower, a little bit less athletic, a little bit less skilled on the ground, maybe even a little bit less skilled in the boxing. But when you look at Tyson Nam, he has that one-hitter quitter. He has the one-shot knockout punch that he's always had throughout his career. He could finish a fight with one shot, with one kick. And with Matt Schnell, the issue that we've seen with him throughout his career is the chin. He's been finished multiple times by knockout. So even in weird situations like the Hector Sandoval knockout where he got finished with a hammer fist from the bottom, I believe. So it's like there's been some questionable moments regarding Matt Schnell's chin. And in these fights, it's like, is Matt Schnell going to be winning, finessing him with the 1-2s, dominating the striking, throwing the more volume, keeping the jab on him? He's going to have a significant reach, and I feel like he's going to be sticking and moving, and Nam's going to be the guy going forward, and maybe even catches Nam and knocks out Nam. But Nam is shown to be very durable throughout his career. He's going to be the bigger guy in there, and even though Schnell has the reach advantage, just the bigger frame. And I don't know. I mean, I kind of feel like this can be a fight where Matt Schnell is winning the whole fight until Tyson Nam lands that one shot, knocks him out. So not a lot of super in-depth analysis, but I just feel like Tyson Nam is a good enough striker to, stay in there, keep coming forward like he always does in fights, and he always lands a few big strikes and sometimes you'll get a knockout, and I feel like Matt Schnell is one of these guys that's a little bit of a glass cannon. So for me, I'm going to pick the knockout artist in Tyson Nam to touch that chin, knock him out. But this is a 50-50 fight. I mean, Matt Schnell, I feel like skills-wise is way better. It's just, his durability isn't there. So for me, I'm going to go with Tyson Nam. In the next fight here, we have a good one, man. We got a fight between Billy Q, Kyle Nelson, and Billy Quarantillo. He had one of the more fun fights of the year, his last fight out, where he had a crazy scrap with Spike Carlisle. Took a lot of damage early, came back, got the win. And Kyle Nelson is coming off a vicious first-round knockout against Marco Polo Reyes. Before that, he had kind of looked a little bit bad, lost his previous 2 UFC fights. Billy Q is riding a 7-fight win streak, so the momentum is definitely on Billy Q's side in terms of who the UFC wants to win this fight, who they're pushing, and just who probably has the higher confidence level right now. But looking at the matchup, it's a similar matchup to the one that Billy Q had against Spike Carlisle. It's another huge guy for 145. I mean, this is one of the biggest featherweights on the roster, and it's a powerful guy with knockout power and decent skills on the ground as well. If he can get on top, he could smash you. He can lock in some submissions. And I mean, Nelson has pretty fluid striking, man. He has a good jab, good straight right hand, good counter left hook. He'll throw these step-in knees. Really attacks the body well. I mean, we've seen him hurt Diego Ferreira with his front kick to the body. Really nice left hook, right uppercut combination. And he comes out fast, man. He tries to put it on you. And he likes to use a high guard, so he is hittable to the body. He does slow down, and that's the issue with this fight because, like I said, even his grappling is pretty solid. I mean, he has good reactive takedowns, and, on top, he has big elbows. He likes to get to the mount. He has good rear naked chokes. And he almost finished Matt Sills with the rear naked choke. So, I mean, he does have some good stuff on the ground, but I feel like Billy Q is one of these guys that cardio-wise is going to have a big edge here. After that first round, I feel like Nelson is going to be in a little bit of trouble. Because when you look at Billy Q, I mean, he's tested himself against good guys. He's a pressure striker, good boxing, throws in combination, attacks the body. And you throw some low kicks, he'll attack that low calf. But he holds his hands low, he walks into bombs, and he gets hurt in almost every first round that he's had. So that's why it makes Nelson a live dog here. But Billy Q, he's a legit black belt. In the clinch, he has good dirty boxing. He is very aggressive on top. He has a lot of submissions that he could throw up. And off of his back, I mean, he has a dangerous guard. He'll attack with triangles, arm bars. He's a survivor. He can, control you and just get his wits back to him and get back into the fight. And the cardio edge for Billy Q is huge. I mean, he just doesn't get tired in his fights. If he can avoid that early damage, he's going to dominate, in my opinion. I could see him getting a late finish decision victory. I'm just going to roll with Billy Q here. He's the more experienced, talented fighter. If he could survive the early onslaught from the, athletic juggernaut type guy, he should get the win. So, for me, Billy Q is going to be the pick. In the next fight on the main card, we got a light heavyweight fight. We got Mike Rodriguez taking on Ed Herman. Mike Rodriguez, he's jumping right back in the octagon. He had that quick knockout victory against Marcin Prokhnio last month. So this will be his second fight in 3 weeks, actually. And he showed what he was famous for once again. I mean, he has 9 first-round knockouts. So that's what happened in that fight. And he's taking on Ed Herman, who's gone through hell to get a fight in 2020, man. I mean, this is his 6th scheduled fight of the year, and he hasn't fought one time. So he was scheduled to fight Dong Jung twice, GM3 twice, John Allen, but ultimately he's getting slow Mike Rodriguez. And looking at this matchup, it's interesting because Mike Rodriguez is someone you can never trust. I just feel in this fight, he has some advantages. He's going to be the faster, bigger, more diverse guy on the feet. Looking at Herman's record, he hasn't faced many fighters who have kick-heavy game plans. And Nikita Krylov gave him a lot of issues with that. He was learning the front kick up the middle to the body over and over, which is a strike Rodriguez loves to throw. Rodriguez is obviously going to want to try to keep it on the outside, use his reach, his speed, take out Herman. He should look to pick Herman apart on the outside with long punches, kicks, make him pay with step-in knees, elbows. And Rodriguez showed he's dangerous in the clinch with the knees, with the elbows. He's also shown he can be taken down in the clinch as well, though. And I expect Herman to try to get in close, push Mike against the cage, dirty box, look for those sneaky knees, try to take Rodriguez down. And, if he does take him down, he has a good chance of keeping him down. Herman, he is a good submission guy, but he hasn't had a submission since 2012, so that's something that he hasn't done in recent years. And he definitely has the better cardio. He's the tougher guy. If Rodriguez can't get the first round knockout, it could get interesting. But, man, I don't know. For me, I just kind of see Rodriguez winning this fight, whether it's a decision with him fading late or a KO, TKO victory. I like Ed Herman. I pick Ed Herman in a lot of spots. I was going to pick him against GM3. But in this one, I kind of just think that Mike Rodriguez is going to get him in. Whether it's a knockout, whether it's a 29-28 decision, I'm going to go with Mike Rodriguez here. Up next here, we got Roxanne Modafferi taking on Andrea Lee. Two top 10 staples are looking to bounce back. Andrea Lee lost 2 split decisions in a row. She did have a 3-0 start to her UFC career. And she's a big favorite once again here in this matchup. Even after losing their first fight, Roxy was able to get a decision win over Andrea Lee in Invicta in 2014. That was just Lee's third pro fight, so I'm sure both girls are going to have a lot of improvements here. And Roxy, she dropped a decision to Lauren Murphy her last time out, and she just hasn't been able to string wins together in the UFC. She's been going win-loss for her entire tenure, and she's actually alternated wins and losses in her last 7 fights. But in this fight, I got Roxanne Modafferi again, man. I just feel she's kind of a bad matchup for Andrea Lee. Lee has always struggled with wrestlers getting taken down. She doesn't really hit the hardest. She can back up straight when she gets pressured. And she doesn't really, she can get taken down in the clinch, controlled against the cage. That's where Roxy is strong, and I think she's going to bring the fight again. Lee uses her kicking game, her clinch offense with knees as a big part of her offense, and that's kind of muted with someone like Roxy, who's willing to eat those kicks, crash the distance, use it to get on top. In the clinch, she's just stronger than her. She can control her against the fence, get her down with her judo, and she's just a better wrestler as well. She's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. On top, I see Roxy being able to dominate again, control the clinch. I don't think Lee throws enough volume or has good enough footwork. She's flat-footed, and her hands don't really have a lot of pop. Due to that, I just see Roxy getting inside, getting the clinch, controlling against the fence, using, that fence as basically, putting her on the fence and just using it as a takedown because she's vertical against the fence, just grinding her there. Fighters that beat Roxy, man, they match her physicality, like Sijara Eubanks, like Lauren Murphy, Sarah Kaufman, even Jennifer Maia. All these girls are strong, physical. Nico Montano. Lee, we've seen her taken down in multiple fights. She is a pretty strong girl, but I don't think she's as strong or physical as Roxy to keep her off of her. And in a fight where it's close, it's a striker versus grappler fight. And, Roxy's improved her striking a lot. I feel like it's not a huge, ginormous as a gap as it was the last time they fought even. And there's something to be said about the intangibles when you look at these certain fights. Andrea Lee, she might have the skill advantage. She may be a little bit better than Roxy, but when it's in that second, the third round, who's going to be the one that's willing to push? Who's going to be the one that's willing to eat a shot to get a takedown? Who's going to be the one that in a clinch situation is going to push a little harder to win that scramble? I think it's going to be Roxanne Modafferi, man. You're looking at a girl in Roxanne Modafferi that's been fighting since 2003, that when she went into the gym, she's probably the worst fighter in the gym for years, man, and she kept grinding, she kept working it, and she's now, gotten to a point where she can defeat these girls just with their experience, just with her grit, her determination, and the skills that she's, developed over these, 15 years. And I just feel like with Andrea Lee, it's a tough matchup for Andrea Lee, man. Like I said, Lee likes to get in that clinch, use the knees. She likes to throw a lot of kicks. And against Roxy, that's a bad thing to do. You don't want to throw kicks, get the kicks caught, get the kicks jammed, taken down. You don't want to get in the clinch with someone that's stronger than you, that's better than you in the clinch, that wants to be there, that wants to take you down in that place. And it's a small cage. Syndicate MMA has done well against Andrea Lee as well. Roxy was a huge underdog when they first fought. She got the win. Joanne Carterwood was a 2 or 3 to 1 underdog against Andrea Lee. Went in there, got takedowns, got the win. So I just have faith that Roxy Modafferi is going to go in there, implement a similar game plan, and get another victory with top control, winning the fight, and just out grappling Andrea Lee. So I'm going with Roxanne Modafferi to get a win. What a year it's been for this dude, right? Kama Worthy, Otman Azaitar, and Worthy is going to be looking to make it 3-0 in the UFC. In a co-main event here, he's pulled off 2 massive upsets. So Worthy has put himself in a big position here. He's really worked his way up, and good for him. I mean, he's a very dangerous counter striker. He stands right in front of opponents, basically flat-footed, and dares them to throw at him, and then he's very athletic, fast twitch, uses a lot of head movement, herky-jerky movement, and really nice jab, really fast straight punch counters. He has sharp, dangerous hooks. He explodes in with a left hook, right hook combo. He can connect and stun guys, and when he gets in the pocket, he's super crazy. Wide hooks, uppercuts, jump knees, front kicks to the face. He'll throw nice flying knees, even standing hammer fist. I mean, he throws some wild strikes when he gets in the groove. His style is kind of to let opponents throw or touch him so he can fire back, and that's obviously a dangerous game. He's been knocked out because of it, but he has 9 knockouts in his career. And he's been knocked out 5 times. But he hasn't been knocked out since 2018. So it's been a little bit of a while for him. And Worthy, I mean, he's not the greatest wrestler. We saw once again in his last fight, he kind of got dominated on the mat in that second round. He got mounted, got his back taken. He did catch a submission, though, in the third. But round 2, he gave up a lot of bad positions. Pena was able to dominate Worthy on the mat for the majority of the round. He definitely won the round. And he just gets taken down way too easily. I just don't think his wrestling is UFC level, but obviously he has some submissions that he can go to, and his submission defense is pretty good. So he's a dangerous guy. I mean, it's hard to just take him down because he's so fast twitch and looking to counter as well. And his opponent, Azaitar, 12-0, perfect record. He came into the UFC, got that brutal knockout against Teemu Packalén. And he's the former Brave lightweight champion, and Brave is a very good organization. And he's a powerful but very wild striker, very aggressive. There's a lot of volume, a lot of kicks, 1-2s, jab overhand rights, leaping left hooks. He'll throw nice left hook to the body to right hook to the head. There's a lot of volume, and when he gets hit, he just returns with punches. He can kind of get in these 50-50 brawls, but he has big power. And he's been able to win those knockout, drag-out fights. He throws a lot of feints, and it's hard to kind of tell when he's going to throw. Really nice leg kicks, good round kicks, front kicks to the body, head kicks. But he can get a little bit sloppy at times. His defense isn't the best. His hands are a little bit low. And when he punches, he doesn't bring them to his face fast that much at times. And, he will sit in the pocket and just throw these wide hooks, uppercuts that leave him open for counters. But in his last fight, he did a better job using the jab to find range, staying more disciplined, and he eventually countered with that overhand right that face-planted Packalén. And he has 8 knockouts, including 4 in a row. He's never been finished by strikes, and he's a fearless guy in there. I mean, when he gets hurt, he gets more dangerous. And he's a decent grappler. I mean, he has good singles, good doubles. In the clinch, he has nasty knees to the body. He'll dig underhooks, push opponents to the cage, get body locks, double legs. On top, he's very aggressive with ground and pound, good front headlock position. He snaps opponents down. His guillotine is good. He isn't super dangerous with his jiu-jitsu. In his 2 fights that went to the 3rd round, though, he did rely a lot on wrestling, top control. He has good takedown defense, and when you do take him down, he's hard to hold down. He does have 2 submissions in his career, good cardio. He fights at a crazy pace, and I have seen him get a little bit tired as the fight goes on, but his cardio and the pace that he brings is good. So he has the ability to hurt and recover, and he's a fun ability to get hurt and recover, and he's a fun, wild guy to watch, finisher. This is a close fight. I mean, I'm kind of struggling with the pick. I could see both guys getting knockouts. I think Worthy has more of a risk-averse style, and Azaitar, he's finally facing a fast twitch athlete with the one-punch knockout power, but Azaitar has the grappling advantage in my opinion, and I feel like he's getting better with the distance control, with the fakes, the feints, and I think that he hits a little bit harder, and he's probably more durable and can recover and come back against a guy like Worthy. I don't know. This fight's tough for me to call. I'm gonna say Azaitar gets the win here via knockout, but I could see Worthy pulling another upset, man. He's I guess he's the slight favorite now. He opened as a slight underdog, but my pick is going to be Ottman Azaitar. And last but not least here, we got the main event. We got Angela Hill taking on Michelle Waterson. And Angela Hill, man, she's been nothing short of a workhorse lately. She's been the most active fighter in the UFC over the last couple of years. This is going to be her 4th fight of the year, 8th fight since March of 2019. And she's getting a big opportunity here. She's headlining a UFC. This is going to be her first UFC headliner, and it's against a notable name in the karate hottie, Michelle Waterson. She finally had a good performance against a name opponent her last time out. She dropped and gave Claudia Gadelha a really tough fight. She dropped a split decision, but a lot of people feel like she deserved a win. And for Michelle Waterson, she needs to bounce back with the win here. She's lost 2 in a row, and her last fight was terrible. I mean, prior to that, she was on a 3-fight win streak. She looked great, so definitely still has life in her. And she's a big name, very marketable, so I don't think she's in danger of being cut with a loss, but it would kind of end her title hopes, so I do think she's going to come in here in great shape. She hasn't won a fight in a year and a half. It's a direct contrast to Hill, who has won 4 fights since the last time Waterson won 1. So for Waterson, she needs to use her movement, stick and move with her kicks, straight punches, look to mix it up, get Hill to chase her, and then go for takedowns. Hill is shown to be a little bit weak on the mat. On the feet, I just think Hill is a little bit better, though. She's faster with her hands. She's longer. The leg kicks are going to add up for Angela. Hill has more one-punch power, in my opinion. And Michelle does hold her hands low, and in the pocket, or when she tries to back up or angle off at times, she does have her hands down, and Hill could catch her. Hill is going to want to pressure, cut Michelle off, control the center, and do her thing. Pick and pull, change the targets, use her fakes, feints, keep Michelle off rhythm, attack the legs, put damage on Michelle and be the bully. Michelle, she needs to, time those singles, those doubles, those body locks. She had some nice body locks against Courtney Casey. Against Joanna, she was able to time the body lock, trip, take the back. And if she can do that to Hill and submit her, I wouldn't be surprised. Hottie was dominated in the clinch against Joanna, though. She has to be careful with Angela. Hill has slicing elbows. She can really cut you open. Good Muay Thai. I do kind of see this fight going to the ground, though. I just think Michelle has too good a timing. Her body lock trips are good, which Angie struggles with. I will give Hill credit. She's really improved her game off her back. She'll attack with triangles, arm bars, elbows off her back. She's offensive. And when Angela Hill got taken down in the first round against Claudia Gadelha, she got taken on directly into side control. She got beat up a little bit on the ground, but she did work her way back up to her feet at the end of the round, and Claudia never attempted any more takedowns after that first round. It just isn't the same Claudia anymore. I mean, Claudia slowed way down, but, she still made the third round competitive enough, though, even though I think Hill got the win. With this fight, man, I don't know. I'm a big fan of Hill, but I just kind of favor Michelle Waterson. I just see her using a lot of movement on the feet, being hard to hit, getting Hill to chase, overextend, timing level changes, getting some takedowns, some clinch control against the cage. I could see Waterson taking the back, getting a sub also. Hill slows down in fights that have high pace. In her fight with Loma, you could definitely see she was slowing down a little bit. I see she does look in phenomenal shape. She's ripped, so maybe she's attempting to counteract the grappling of Michelle by being fit, being big, maybe winning the clinch battle. But Michelle looks good too. She needs a win here. And I just feel like she's a little bit better, man. I feel like her style here is going to prevail with the takedowns, with the grappling, with the clinch takedowns especially. The judo throws, the trips. So for me, I'm going to go with Michelle Waterson via submission or decision. But I kind of feel like the inside the distance prop has value in this fight. And I feel like Waterson by submission has value as well. So there you have it, guys. Those are the picks this week for UFC Fight Night, Waterson versus Hill. As far as the parlay of the week goes this week, it's going to be Bobby Green and Billy Quarantillo. For the underdogs of the week, I'm going to give you Michelle Waterson, Roxanne Modafferi. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll talk to you guys later.